Good day, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Untamed Reality Podcast series where we talk about everything, anything happening anywhere around the world. Here, the topic for discussion today is construction. Yes, before we talk about our topics today, here with me in the studio, I have my wonderful friend, my brother for many years. His name is Engineer Lukman. Engineer Lukman, welcome to the Untamed Reality
Yeah, good
Podcast
afternoon.
series.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
So, he's an engineer of so many years. He has handled a lot of buildings in Lagos State, outside Lagos State, everywhere around the country, Nigeria. So, before us today, we have a topic. We want to talk about construction in Nigeria. Let's first talk about this. What do you think is more applicable? Is it to buy a property and move in, or to build from scratch? Which of these do you think is more applicable, especially in Lagos? Let's
Yeah,
take Lagos as a case scenario, as a case study.
thank you very much once again. Um, just like you asked, which one is more preferable? The the most preferable, let me use that word if I'm permitted to use so, is the buying a property, is the act of buying a property. That is the best way to go. You are sure of what you are buying, you can see it, it is visible, it is realistic, unlike seeing a drawing off plan. What I mean by off plan is going through the designs, the drawings, the paperwork. Okay, this is what you are intending to build, and having it built. That might take some time. For example, you might have it in mind that, okay, in the next 6 months, this will be ready. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, the weather and whatsoever, it's you have another month added to the time of completion. That is the delivery timeline. So with that, it might affect your program. And but the best, like I said earlier on, is buying a property. But in this country where we are, there are several things that are behind buying a property.
Like what?
Now, first thing is the quality of materials being used in completion, in executing the building.
How do you determine the quality of materials used? Or how do maybe I want to buy a house? It's beautiful. I can see that it's fine, well built. To my own, as a layman, how do you understand that there is a quality or there's a deficiency in the quality of building such house?
Thank God for what Lagos is doing for us now in the aspect of building construction. Lagos State has set up several agencies which helps to monitor during and after construction. That is pre-construction, during construction, and post-construction. For example, we have the Lagos State Material Testing Lab, which checks every structural element in the process of construction. When you do that, it will give you at least a 90% assurance of the quality of the structure you are getting. That, okay, this is what the quality of the structure is. If it is well detailed, well lettered, and well followed. What do I mean by this is some people still do, they do, I don't know how to put this. I wouldn't want to say
Okay,
this.
yeah, they still find a way of going around
I don't want to
the
use that word.
reporting.
I don't want to use that word. I wouldn't want us to use that word here. But the second thing is this. After the post-construction check is this. You can call in the same agency to run, there's something we call pundit test. That is a non-destructive and integrity test. They run it on a building to check.
Is it different from the
Now,
first
the
test?
first one is in the course of construction. They come to site, pick your samples as they want the ready mixed concrete. They pick it either the one you batched or the one you mixed on site. They pick samples from intervals. They pick samples from the first mix, the second mix, the third mix. at intervals, an average of what they've picked will be used to run the test. That is on the element. For example, you have concrete mix on site. They pick the concrete, the first mix of concrete, to ascertain if it is actually according to the design mix. There's something we call design mix. Now, for example, you want to have a concrete strength of 20 kilonewton per meter square. You would run a test against that specific design.
That's more. I don't want us to go more technical into, so that
Okay.
we don't confuse our audience that do
Okay.
not have the technical know, that
knowledge.
just know that, okay, I have, for instance, I have 50 million, and I see a building that's called, they're asking me for 45 million or 50, same 50 million.
Okay.
How do I determine? How do I get to get that conviction that the building is actually a very strong one?
What's the cost?
Yes.
Now, the best thing to just do is to run the test on the building. Then you need to still invite. That is why it's always good when you are buying a property, you go with professionals in the field of construction to help you ascertain, because some errors might not be detected through the test, but it can be detected by a professional on site. For example, you cannot test a roof covering. You won't test that. But a professional will get there and tell you this roof is bad, the woodwork is bad, the wood is an inferior one. Because we have it everywhere, whereby you have a little windstorm and the entire roof is taken off. Will you call that a test? Can the test detect that? No. But a professional can actually detect it.
When you say about the tests, we understand that these tests are there. There is a regulatory agency that does that, which giving kudos to Lagos State government and other state government regulatory agencies, because it's not only done in Lagos State, we have it everywhere in the country. So now, my challenge is that, how are you able to follow up this? Do we have that conviction? As you that want to buy a house, when you see the report, can you go to bank with it? Can't it be doctored?
No. They won't, because you're not even paying to them. And you're not meeting the person who is going to run the test physically. The test will be carried out by people, by teams, by the team on site. Then the report will be sent into the lab. The lab person that is actually handling the report that was taken on site doesn't know you and has not met you before. And you don't even need to meet him. And you're not going to meet him. And after all this is done, he passes it right to the lab head, which actually proof checks or proofread it and append his own signature. The same way it goes like that. I can always tell you this: whatever report you get is the best, and it is the original thing.
Okay, now on one of the major reasons why people choose to either build or buy a property, a ready-made property, which one do you think it's cost effective? Which one do you think is cheaper?
Every businessman wants to make profits on his business. That's the truth. Everybody, the sole purpose of running a business is to make profit. So there is no way you'll be building a structure, you'll be constructing a structure with let's say an X amount of let me just peg a little amount of money, 30 million, for example, to build a duplex. Then you are expecting the same person to sell that same duplex for 30 million naira. It's not possible. One, it might be bank financed. It might be, at least we all know, you cannot run a business with 30 million naira and expect to make 30 million naira back in a space of 6 months. You would have your interest on it. That is what makes it a business.
So that means,
but the best thing is you should have your construction done by yourself and engage professional hands. Engaging professional hands might look costlier, but you always have the best as against buying a developed building. Now, you cannot go to a developed a built structure by a developer and expect to have your desired finishes. The tiling, the ceiling fittings, the finishes, the soffit finishing, and all those stuff.
Now, one of the things that discourage a lot of people from building is this. There is this a lot of challenges. Now, starting from the scratch, the first one is the Omonile factor. During the previous administration of Governor Ambode, he declared their whatever they are doing illegal, and even ordered to arrest anybody found doing that. Fast forward it till now, we're going to 8 years. 8 years now. I think going towards 8 years now. And we still discover that this is still there. The government seems not to do anything about it. So why do you think it's so difficult for the government to do anything about it? And why do you think it's still there till now?
If I must say, Lagos State has actually tried a lot about Omonile of a thin issue, in the sense that unlike before, whereby by now Omonile would walk out or come out during the broad daylight and begin to vandalize people's property because they didn't settle or pay them in their own way. But if you look at it now, they have actually curbed their how do I put it, their hooliganism, the power in them. Now, in Lagos, the land belongs to some set of people. Though Lagos State has its own scheme. If you don't want to have issues with Omonile and co, walk into Lagos State Ministry of Lands and
it seems I don't want it to look like we are. I don't like it.
No, I'm not actually marketing Lagos State.
Yes, I don't want it to look like we're marketing Lagos State.
No, I'm not marketing Lagos State. I'm just trying to tell you how convenient they've made things be in the last few years. Unlike before, the issue of Omonile in Lagos State is crazy. You cannot walk freely. You cannot do things on site freely. You have to settle this, you have to settle that. Still, they will still come to you and also harass you. But now, it is a different ball game. In Southwest generally, it's a different ball game. They've been able to curb them to a large extent. And but now, if you want to build, the best thing I would advise you is you meet whoever the head is, either the king or the chief or the village head or whatever. You sort things with them. That is the way it has been. I must tell you the truth. That is the way we go about it. You meet them, you have discussions, they agree on a certain amount of money because they also know that government has actually scrapped their activities. Then they have actually calmed down too. They've calmed down to the point whereby you can liaise with them, you can relate and have come to a common ground where you pay them whatever you can afford. But in some part of Lagos, I was still being told that they are still very ras. Let me use that word in terms of toll collection, because I don't know what we call the payment we made to them. I call it toll because it is not the cost of buying the land. Actually, you've bought the land, you have probably your CFO or your governor's consent, but they will still walk up to you and tell you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that. And these days, they are so funny. They tell you they want to collect development levy. And you begin to wonder, development levy by Omonile, what are you developing? When you walk up to them and you tell them, okay, what am I actually paying for? You ask them this question, the payment I'm making to you, it is actually for what? Is it to be remitted to?
They tell you ratification. They have English for it.
Ratification is actually being collected by government, not by Omonile. Omonile is not in the best position to say he wants to ratify a land to you. Only
That's
government does that.
that's what they claim. They you and I know that's what they claim they do.
Exactly.
I think we'll get across to a Lagos State official to who are into at least maybe the building control people to just come and really clarify to us on this, because this has been a big problem for most especially private builders that just want to build a home, and at the end of the day they get extorted exorbitant amounts. They will tell you this is what you pay during foundation, this is what you pay during if you want to roof, this is what you
Just
pay
like a stage kind of a
for if
thing.
you want to do decking. These issues it's been lingering for so long, and I think the government really needs to do something about it at this point. At this point, the government really needs to do something about it so that people don't get to people don't get to feel discouraged about the activities of the government. And more also, we need to look at one thing about regulatory agencies in building. How do clients, how do a person that just want to build his or her own apartments, or that just want, okay, let me just give me a befitting apartment, what are those regulatory agencies and stages that he or she should be aware of? What are those ways, so that by tomorrow nobody just come and say, oh, this you did this, you are going to get this, you're going to get that. So how do
Now, in Lagos, information is not hidden. Let me state this categorically. In Lagos, information is not hidden. If you research, you will be told. You would get information. They do jingles. Lagos State run jingles for LASPA. LASPA is Lagos State Fiscal Planning Permit Authority. LAPSCA is Lagos State Building Control Agency. LSMTL, Lagos State Material Testing Laboratory. They run jingles for all these agencies, to the point of Lagos State Safety Commission, that you should know how to handle your project, where to go to and how to go about it. For example, once you have your drawings done by your architect and it is vetted, take it to Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority. They check through, correct whatever that needs to be corrected. They give you your approval.
Can this be done by an individual? Do you have agency that does this processing, or can maybe I just want to build like this, I can handle it myself, or you have to hand it
going by what Lagos State said? I don't want to dig too deep into them. They said you can walk up into any LASPA office and have your approval done by yourself. But I must tell you, my brother, it has never been easy running it by yourself. Somewhere, somehow along the line, somebody's going to frustrate you. That's just the truth. That will warrant you to say, okay, let me meet. How do I go about it? What do I need to do? But the truth is, if you have your drawings done in the right order, all your detailings are well done, you submit it, whatever corrections, if need be, you would correct it and resubmit, then assessment will be issued. From there, they will take it to the head office, check for every land laws if you are not violating the Lagos State land laws and regulations. For example, you cannot expect your building that is closer to a power line or a gas line or a proposed urban road, and you are expecting approval for it, or even a major drainage that is running through a line, and you want to have a building very close to it. There are some setbacks that you need to follow. Fine, like you said the other time, Omonile sells the land for you, and he actually captured part of the setback to a drainage on your land. In the process, you went for a survey. The person who is doing the survey for you is not actually doing the right survey for you. He made the survey and it is not the original one. There are two types of survey. There are provisional ones and there are the real survey.
Which one is provisional survey? Which one is the real
Now,
survey?
the provisional survey is not vetted. But the real survey we call it the red survey.
How do you know one is real and
Now,
from the vetted and the one that's
when
not
you
vetted?
take your survey to the surveyor's office, surveyor general's office, you would be able, they will confirm to you that okay, this is a right survey and this is a fake one, because every survey that is done by a surveyor must be taken to the ministry for vetting.
Okay, so what you mean now is if anybody is telling you, maybe a surveyor
Now,
is doing a survey for you, you must be sure. Then now, how now you talk about, there are some people that are out there. Maybe the surveyor tell, oh, I've done it,
you can't.
so
There
how
are
do you?
stamps on it.
Yes.
There are stamps that will be crested on it. You will see Lagos State stamps on it, telling you that okay, this is a survey, and once you take it there is a number on your survey that will be used to track it. Once they input those numbers, the numbers will tell them okay, this survey is so survey. It will be captured on the Lagos State master plan that this land has been allocated to so person with your name on it. But if it is not taken there, and by the time you make payment, and you after you make the payment, the actual survey payment, because the survey payment in Lagos State varies, depends on the environment. The survey for Lekki, Ajah and Co is different from the survey for Ekpe. It's different from the survey for the mainland, some part of mainland. There's a way Lagos State has actually done it. The surveyors can tell better on this.
One of the things that I would like us to talk about is on the costs of buying a freshly built
A
property,
newly built property.
or building yourself. Now, is it possible that a quantity surveyor, a QS, can value, maybe for instance, you want to sell a block of flat for me, and I go there with a QX to just value it first. Then you would then know that okay, what is the today's value? How do you think it is that possible to do, that a quantity surveyor can value the existing building that you want to sell, which is a new one?
It's possible, very, very possible. That is the work of a quantity surveyor. Their job is to value every expense that has been incurred in the course of constructing the building, and in respect to the current value of materials. Because now you started for example, now we all know what the economy is saying. The price of a commodity in the morning is not static. In the evening, you have another price, a price difference. Tomorrow morning, you have another price difference due to the fluctuation in the price of
Exchange rate.
the exchange rate. So with this, but the truth about it is this: there is nothing. Let me just use this word. There is nothing a developer will build that will be as pleasing as what you would build by yourself. Because the best way to go is always to build for yourself. Now, in the course of you have a dream home right there. You have a vision, you have a mission, you have a vision of how you want your building to look like. Then somebody has built something else that doesn't suit that vision. But because you just want to have a home to yourself, then you just buy that.
Sorry, one of the reasons why a lot fears the part of building yourself is, who do they trust? The trust factor. How do you think the trust factor can at least be reduced to an extent? Because we all know what happens in this industry too, which is a fear of, I'm sure, of a lot of persons. There are a lot of people in diaspora that wants to build, but they don't know who to trust. There are agencies, there are what they call the property companies that would pay for land, they will not allocate, or they will tell you they are building this of which they are not building this. So how do they trust this profession? Because I feel this profession has been so bastardized by there are a lot of rotten eggs in this profession, which had really made it so difficult for people to trust professionals in this profession. How do you think we can build that up back?
The first thing is what causes what is the main thing that leads to trust issues. Now, there is no way I will have a project assigned to me by you and I will not want to execute. No, why won't I want to do that? I would definitely want to. I'll be happy to have projects running and making sure that I deliver to what my client's taste is. But in the case whereby you sign an agreement today with a client, then you are being mobilized. Then the next few days, the cost of things skyrockets. You get back to the client, informing the client that, okay, well, see, the prices of things have gone up beyond our expectations. The next thing the client wants to tell you is, I don't want to hear this. But the client has forgotten that you guys had an agreement of when there is an increase in price, there's bound to be variations. But the client doesn't want to listen. And that is what leads us into court of arbitrators, whereby we begin to drag ourselves. I can't continue this, you can't do this, you can't do that. Fine, I don't have control over cost of market price, the cost of goods, cost of commodities, cost of materials in markets. For example, in the case of, as of last week, iron was being sold in the open market for, I think, 900,000 naira. And this week, here we are, it is being sold for 1.350. The same tonnage of iron. And I can even tell you that in some cases we've heard of 1.5 million naira for a ton of iron that is being manufactured. At least I can tell you that 70% of its raw materials are sourced locally. Why are we threatening ourselves? Now, when these clients go online to confirm these prices we are telling them, the prices online are not changing. But in the physical market, the prices are just crazy. So you now trying to make the client understand that, okay, oh, this has changed, this has changed. He's like, oh, because I have paid you because I've given you mobilization, is that why you feel you can hold me to ransom? No, I won't want to do this. And in the course of that, you guys start dragging back and forth, back and forth. Before you know it, before you guys comes to term again, the prices have actually changed again. And we all know in Nigeria where we live in, once the prices goes up, it's very hard to come back to its initial price. It will be pegged somewhere in the middle. So with that, there will be trust issues. And it's not possible that you get a contract, the client pay you 100% upfront. I don't think that is happening anywhere, even in the ministry. There will always be trust issues on the side of the client and the contractor. But the best way I think we can always go by this is, okay, we've known this has happened. How do we resolve it? Let's come to terms on time before things begin to go out of hand.
Okay, thank you. I personally want to appreciate you, Engineer Lukman, for coming around this section. You've said
You're
a
welcome.
lot. You've said a lot that our viewers really need to learn from. You've really educated us on building construction. But I hope that we should be able to have you again and again and again, well, because I'm sure we've not delved really into this. But there are other areas I would like us to delve in, but because of time, maybe we'll schedule another episode where we can do that. I really want to appreciate you once more for coming around. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. Thank you, viewers, for watching this episode of the Untamed Reality podcast series, where we talk about everything, anything, anywhere in the world. My name is Chooks David. Follow us on all our social media and do below the screen. And like, share, subscribe to our YouTube platform for more interesting videos. Thank you.